After starting using the technology for approximately 2 weeks, my pain completely disappeared.
32 years of pain gone in 3 days.
I just love the products. They just help me to feel younger and younger year after year.
Thank God for X39.
My skin become younger, softer, firmer.
It's been really amazing.
I love X39 because it really helped reduce the inflammation in my knee. I can now run again. Woohoo!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday evening introduction to LifeWave. I'm your co-host, Robin Blank-Mascari, along with Gregory, and we get together every Tuesday night to share a little bit about this very special company, the founder, the technology, introduce the star of the show, which is called X39, and then we introduce one of our wonderful practitioners. And tonight we're blessed to have Moreau with us. And then it's your turn. And we turn things over to you to share stories, to ask questions, and you can use the Q&A section. And remember, symptoms only. So we're going to turn things over to my partner, and he's going to start off with a short presentation, and then we'll take it from there. Welcome, Gregory.
All right. Thanks, Robin. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us here this evening. And so I'm going to do a short overview of LifeWave and X39. Then we're going to turn it back to Robin and our special guest health practitioner. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Screen share, and here we go. Let the show begin. Okay, so we're going to be talking to you about activating your stem cells with X39. And I finally figured out what I want to be when I get older, younger. And I bet you many of you can relate to that, okay? So before we get started, let me ask you a question. If anything were possible, what's one thing you'd choose to experience differently in your health or in the health of someone you love and care for? And what difference would it make for you or for them if that could be changed, in that situation enhanced? Well, with that being said, let me just put out a general disclaimer. Our products are not designed to heal, treat, diagnose, or cure. However, they do help bring our bodies back into a more healthy, regenerative mode. And many times wonderful things start happening. Okay, so let's talk about the stem cell revolution. And we feel that everyone wants to look, perform, and live younger. And we found that stem cells are the key because they're a vital part of our immune system that helps to repair and regenerate damaged cells all throughout our body, all of our organs, glands, muscles, bones, eyes, you name it. Stem cells are the building block of our body. And the sad news is that the older we get, the less stem cells we have. And by age 60, only a small percentage remains. And sadly, the fewer stem cells we have, the faster we age and the slower we heal. And that's why when a young lad falls down, skins his knee, 3 days later, the scab falls off. Yeah, grandma falls down, skins her knee, breaks her hip, and she'll be lucky to ever get out of the hospital. So that's a problem. And what about stem cell injections? Because they become quite popular. And you know what? But they're quite expensive. You know, they're painful, risky, controversial, with no guaranteed results. You could spend thousands or tens of thousands of dollars with no guaranteed results. Well, this is where we shift our focus. And the good news is now you can look, feel, perform, and live younger with our historic breakthrough in stem cell activation. It's a new wearable technology in patch form. It's affordable, it's safe, it's non-invasive, it's actually drug-free, and a patented form of phototherapy that uses specific frequencies of light to improve our stem cell activity. And this is the brainchild of our visionary founder and CEO, David Schmidt, who's not only a brilliant scientist and researcher, David's a genius inventor with over 130 patents and patent pendings, and he's been on the leading edge of phototherapy research and science for over 20 years. David's already conducted over 80 clinical studies proving the efficacy of LifeWave phototherapy products, And many more studies are always in the works because LifeWave is a very focused health sciences company. It's actually an 18-year-old advanced health science technology company. It was founded back in 2004 based on an energy-enhancing technology David developed for Navy SEALs to help increase their strength, stamina, and performance without drugs, stimulants, or caffeine. And it turned out to be so effective, it's now used by world-class athletes around the world. We have corporate headquarters, laboratory, and manufacturing in California, Utah, and Ireland, and global distribution over 75 countries from our 15 global distribution centers. So the word is starting to get out on LifeWave, and our patches are now used by pro and amateur athletes around the world in almost every sport. The media has begun to notice, and you know what? You might too, if you look carefully on the bodies of some of your favorite athletes and you see these auspicious little white patches, and that's LifeWave. Anyway, how does this amazing technology work? Well, it's based on a type of phototherapy called photobiomodulation. And LifeWave patches contain very specific combinations of organic materials and nanocrystals. And when they're applied or near your body, they're activated by our body heat, and they then begin to emit very specific wavelengths of light that helps to stimulate very beneficial biochemical responses in our body. This is known as photobiomodulation, and it is the basis of our LifeWave phototherapy products. Now, it's been a well-recognized and proven scientific principle that specific frequencies of light can cause very specific changes within our body. And for example, when we go out in the sun, a specific frequency of light causes our body to make vitamin D. Another frequency of sunlight, UV, causes our body to make melanin, the chemical that gives us a suntan. Well, LifeWave's patented technology is based on the same rock-solid, widely recognized scientific principle. Our focus for the last 14 years has been in the field of anti-aging and regenerative science. And a few years ago, in 2019, we released to the global market the LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patch. And this truly is a historic and affordable breakthrough in stem cell activation. Some are calling it the holy grail of anti-aging and restorative science because we're actually doing what the multi-billion-dollar companies and big pharma have not been able to do. And that is X39 actually activates a copper peptide that activates our own body's stem cells. This particular copper peptide decreases with age, and we found a way to activate it and bringing us back to a more youthful state. It also alters gene expression towards a younger and more vibrant you. And who doesn't want to be younger and more vibrant? So X39 certainly is a game changer at activating our stem cells, and our inventor, founder, and CEO, David Schmidt, says this is my greatest accomplishment yet, with an emphasis on yet, because David spends more time in the laboratory than he does in the office, and he's always working on something new. So yes, we have patents. Yes, we have clinical studies. Yes, we have field results proving that LifeWave is actually turning back our biological clock, helping people to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And for us baby boomers, this is very, very exciting. So with that being said, Robin, I'm going to bow out and turn the rest of this call or this webinar over to you and our special guest tonight.
Well, thank you, Gregory. I always love watching that webinar. It's so simple and educational, and there's so much more. And we are so blessed to get to share this technology with people and change lives. So it's my pleasure now to bring on our practitioner. And at LifeWave, we have thousands of healthcare practitioners. They love these products. First, they're interested because we have science behind them, like Gregory mentioned. And then second, they work. They enhance the clinical outcome. So I get to introduce our special guest this evening, and she comes to us from way up in Maine. She is a gem and a gift to our community. She comes to us with decades as a nurse, over 4 decades, and a nutritionist, and a passion for educating people to understand how to live a healthy life, how to heal that microbiome, how to use food as medicine, how to really appreciate, enjoy, and cook healthy food. And she's a wonderful leader and team builder, and it is my honor to introduce Anne.
Thank
Hi.
you so much, Robin, for that great introduction. I really appreciate that. And I love being here and answering the questions. And yes, it's been for over 45 years of my being in the nursing field. So, my passion is really all about helping people. That's what I've done all my life. And this company has just been amazing. I mean, when I was looking for something outside of what I had already done for years, and I found LifeWave, the innovation was exciting. Everything that it offered and everything that it did, I mean, the science, the studies were amazing. I was really impressed with the company.
It's very impressive and very unusual, and boy, are we lucky as we get to wake up every day and hear miracles. So let's jump in as a practitioner and someone who, has very high standards of what you share with people because of your background in education and who you are. Why did you choose to get involved in LifeWave?
Well, I know after watching or reading all about the science and looking at the studies, and hearing some stories about changes people were experiencing, and then meeting David and actually hearing him talk about what he has planned for the future, it was beyond exciting for me to get involved. I thought, this is the company I want to be involved with. I want innovation. I want new things that are coming in the future. I want to look at what I can do to stay healthy and well. And also work with my clients and help them experience wellness. And, LifeWave had all of those things that I was looking for, all of them.
Check, 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 check.
Exactly right.
It did it. It passed the test. Well, I know you have lots of stories and I love how you weave them in, but let's just start out with one of your favorites. And I have a feeling I know what it is, but you want to briefly share one of your favorite stories because
Sure.
very touching.
It's going to be my mother, of course.
Of course, it has to be.
And when the relatives, especially a mom or dad, experience this kind of technology in the level that my mom has, it's pretty eye-opening and it's pretty heart-centered and heartfelt to see a 92-year-old woman go from having a little brain injury that caused her to not be able to think clearly, to lose her vision, to see double and not be able to read numbers, to have her eyes she described it as jiggling, and not be able to walk very steady, and to be able to use this technology and watch her go from that to, in a few days, vision clearing, and her being able to see the numbers again, her thought processes clearing. And not only that, you don't know this part, Robin, but we did go see the eye doctor a few weeks ago. The eye doctor reported that her vision her macular was stable. There was no progression. Everything about her vision was perfect. He did not have to change her glasses. She has since then wanted to go down to the library to get books, and she has not read in a year. So she's back to reading again. She's back to asking to make puzzles. It's very exciting to see. She's cooking in her apartment. She's making recipes again because she can see, So it's just been quite amazing. And I am so grateful for LifeWave in so many ways.
When you can have an effect on a loved one like that and give them hope, because your mother was losing hope. And why stick around if your brain isn't functioning and you can't see and you can't do the things you like to do, and then get it back? And she's how old?
92.
92. I mean, how exciting is that? Because typically at 92, those stem cells aren't doing much. And
And
David
I
was
love
actually
that she has her joy back, Robin. She's more joyful again. She's talking, she's kidding around. I mean, I have to tell you the story. The grandkids were here over the weekend. There's 6 of them. And there's a couple of the boys that are doing Taekwondo. And so they were doing the kicking, and they asked my mom, could she kick? So she stood right up and she kicked, and they
go, Mom.
they were all giggling and laughing. It was quite funny.
I mean, that's what it's worth. It's like, what's the value of being able to pick your grandchild up off the floor and play with them and be able to get on the floor and get up again? Okay, let's move on. I mean, this is so touching to me, and I love hearing these stories, and I know everybody else does too. So this technology, who is it for and who isn't it for?
Well, it's pretty much for everybody. But we recommend that, a little child who's, for example, 2 years old, who can at least speak 2 or older, it would be a better time to do it is after they can speak and tell you how they're doing. And I mean, and all the way to over 100 years old, they can use it. However, there are certain individuals who, for example, had maybe an organ transplant and they're on anti-rejection medications. And our technology is all about regeneration and really boosting the immune system. So what's happening with the medication is that you're obviously, you're destroying cells. You don't want to boost the immune system with anti-rejection medications. And the same goes for chemotherapy. You don't want they're destroying cells with chemo, and physicians will frown on you taking anything that will regenerate cells and are antioxidants. So those are the only 2 times. Other than that, my mom's on 5 different medications. I never worry about her taking or wearing these patches because it does not interfere, it does not enter the body. It's not transdermal. So there is no effect with the medications that she's taking. I love that. In the past, I've had to always worry about, what supplements they might have taken with the medications. And that doesn't happen with this. It's so beautiful. I love it.
It is so wonderful. It's safe, it's natural, it's affordable. More importantly, it works, That's the best part. So for someone to use this technology, what are the ideal components, conditions for people to get the maximum benefit out of using it?
Well, drinking lots of water, because energy flows through the body and water allows that to happen more freely. So water is a very important part of this. Wearing it 12 hours on, 12 hours off. You want to give the body a break. I know that there have been times that my mom has forgotten to remove her patches. And when that happens, I just tell her, just take a break today and we'll resume tomorrow. Because you want to give the body a break because of what we call attenuation, which is a process where the signal to the brain, it kind of gets lost. The signal gets lost. And because it's constantly being stimulated. And once you remove it for a while, you apply the patch back on, and now you're activating that again, and the brain's getting the signal again. So that's an important piece. You want to be consistent. I have found that, being consistent with my mom in particular has been great, because we now have hired somebody to come in and do it with her daily. So that has made a huge difference. So consistency is very important as well. So sometimes people will say, well, I forget, I patched 2 or 3 times this week, or so I encourage, the people that I work with to try to put the patches by your toothbrush where you brush your teeth every morning. That can help. Set an alarm, at the times when you want to put them on or remove them, so that you can remember to put them on in the morning and remove them at night. So those are, things that you can do to make sure that you're, using them appropriately.
Beautiful. So hydration, consistency, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Easy, peel and stick.
Absolutely.
It's pretty exciting that it's that simple. There's nothing to take in. Isn't that wonderful? So, a lot of people wonder, okay, how long is it going to take me to notice something?
Well, that's a big question. Some people notice right away, sometimes, within minutes, and other people, it can take months. And quite frankly, my husband is one of those people who it took actually 2 years, 2 full years, because he had a foot where they had been in and did surgery in that foot so many times, and they cut through the nerves so many times, and you have to regenerate those nerves. And when you're older, it takes a little bit longer. But I can tell you that today he will say to me, I mean, my foot is so much better. I can go up and down the stairs. So there has been a change, but it's taken him a much longer time. Everybody is different. Age plays a role. If you're really young, it can happen pretty quickly, right? We can heal wounds much quicker. And these patches work to help us as we age with wound healing. That can happen pretty quickly. We see it all the time. People get fractured bones. They're told by the doc, oh, it'll take you 6 weeks before you can even begin, to use that arm or leg. And it's 3 weeks, right? We hear that all the time. It's wonderful.
I love it. So I hope everyone hears the answer. Whatever is going on in your body didn't happen overnight. So give it some time. And how long do you recommend people, give it a good solid try? I mean,
at least 3 months, if not 6. I like 6 months because that really gives you that opportunity. And quite frankly, I didn't notice anything initially because I eat really healthy. I really follow a very highly anti-inflammatory diet as a nutritionist. And I didn't have any aching or anything in particular that I was looking for, except for my blood pressure. That was my concern. And I wanted that to get better because I did not want to be on medication. And it took 6 months for my numbers to start to drop. And then I added a second patch. I did the X39 and added the X49, which was a brand new patch, January of this year. And my blood pressure went from 144 over 80 to 115 over 70. So it was
perfect.
Quite remarkable. Yes.
Yes, you're perfection, my dear. So we got to give it time. Be patient, drink your water, and there's other things we need to be doing. The patches are amazing, but when you visit with people that are ready to make changes, what else do you tell them will help them get the maximum benefit as far as lifestyle choices?
Well, I always talk about nutrition. We know that the patches are going to enhance anything that you're doing. If you're supplementing, it's going to enhance the supplements you're taking. If you're eating well, it's going to play a role as well. So yes, I mean, I talk about nutrition, I talk about exercise, I talk about sleep. Those are all important. If you have high levels of stress, you can eat the best diet, you can do the best for your body, but if you are not eating and you're under a lot of stress, they're going to both undo anything that you've done, well during the day. So it's very important to make sure that all of those things are happening. And, a lot of people are into, I love the book, Why We Sleep. I can't remember the name of the author now, but a really wonderful book where he talks about how important sleep is. And in fact, we're seeing this rise in Alzheimer's and dementia, and sleep is a big issue. And that plays a huge role in the way our brain functions. So those are all very important for us to be really well.
We have to do our part. And the patches are amazing. Okay. And what about, are there any negative things that people should be aware of, contraindications or negative experiences?
Sometimes people, as they're having we call it like a healing crisis, if you will, where their body is creating new stem cells and they're sloughing off the old stem cells that are damaged, and inflammation can occur. So when that happens, we can have an area that's repairing that can hurt for a few days. But usually within a couple of weeks, that is back to, because as those cells are sloughed off, inflammation disappears and the new stem cells take over, you're going to have a really healthy tissue, and you're going to end up having a lot better function of whatever, whether it be a knee or whatever it is that you've damaged. The other thing I sometimes will see is that some people who have very low, what we call glutathione levels. So some people have very low levels, and as we're aging, those levels do tend to drop. And I just want to talk a little bit about what is glutathione, because some people may not know what that is. And glutathione is a very important master antioxidant of the body. So it stops cell damage. And when you don't have that level in the range that you need it, damage is going to occur, and you're not going to have the ability to stop the damage. In addition to that, it's one of our major detoxifiers. So sometimes as people are using the X39, and I just had a gentleman that went through this. He started taking the X39. He felt great for 2 or 3 days. He was telling me how great he felt. And then he called me and said, wow, he said, I don't know what happened. It's been a week now, and now I'm not feeling very good. And he had like the headache and the nausea. Are you drinking enough water? Yes, I am, he said. So I said, okay, so what will happen is as the glutathione levels go up, your body's going to try to get rid of waste products, right? It's got to take out the trash. And so if it's going to take out the trash, it's got to flush out the toxins. And as that level goes up, it can sometimes give you a headache or a little nausea. And those are some of the symptoms he was experiencing. So what we did with him is I said to him, let's just go slower. Wear the patch for fewer hours, maybe 4 to 6 hours a day. If you do well with it, you can increase that over time. Sometimes I have to just, if people are really fragile, I have to wait with the X39, and I sometimes will use another patch called Eon for inflammation, because some people are highly inflamed and they're very fragile, and we want to start them gradually. So sometimes I start them on Eon for a week or 2 and then bring in the X39, and they do far better doing it that way.
Beautiful, beautiful. I remember when I started and I had a pain in my arm come back with a vengeance, and I called Dr. Nicholas and said, what is going on? And I was telling him how much it hurt. He goes, oh, good, it's working. And that's the response we give people. But like you said, if it's too much too fast, you can just take it off and work up slowly into the 12 hours. Beautiful. So anything else before
healing, right, Robin? Feeling is healing. Feeling is healing.
Feeling is healing, and healing is feeling.
That's
they
right.
go, the emotional and the physical. Yep, it's really, really, really important. So anything else before we open up for our audience?
I don't think so.
Okay, so someone said in the chat, I often don't notice a change until I go off a product and realize that, yes, the product did work. and we do hear that from people. And so people don't want to be without their product. And that's where the convenience of a monthly subscription is great, because you don't have to remember to order, it just comes. Okay, let's see what we have in our Q&A. Victoria says, since X39 also supports stem cells, can someone who has had a transplanted organ or undergoing chemotherapy use that patch? So we already answered that one, and I think that should be handled. Watercolor Society of Oregon. I do believe that might be Jennifer. What foods have a lot of copper in them? Oh no, it's Winnie. Hi, Winnie. What foods have a lot of copper in them?
Well, things like dark chocolate. Do you like dark chocolate? Dark chocolate, some of your organ meats, shellfish, nuts and seeds, all of those have high amounts of copper.
Okay. And you can always go online and search what foods have lots of copper. I think oysters and Brazil nuts and liver. Some of those things aren't things that people regularly eat. So getting a supplement might be a good idea. Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Winnie. Carola, with everything that's going on in the world, I have a person very interested in the product. She has a question. Can we say what ingredients are in the patches? I sent her the research and science. For some, some people need a bit more.
Yeah, there's a wonderful document called the X39 Story. And if you can get your hands on that, in our community, it's in the liveyoungersuccess.com area, and you can find that X39 research document. And that document, that story, goes into great detail. It talks all about how the patches were created, what's in the nanocrystal. I mean, it's like, I think it's 55 pages. Is that accurate? 55 pages long. And so I would strongly recommend that you send that document, because it will answer all the questions she has, for sure.
Great. We recommend everyone read that. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. You'll get quite the insight about, how this came about, and about the copper peptide and all kinds of wonderful things. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anne, where do you recommend one to put Eon to reduce inflammation? Good question. Thank you.
That's a really good question. And, it really depends on the individual and what the individual is looking to accomplish. And that's always the question to ask, right? If you're talking to somebody, what are you looking to do? I want to know from the individual what area of the body is maybe bothering you. If it's the knee, maybe you want to put it right on the knee where the inflammation is. If it's systemic, then you're going to want to use behind the neck or right below the belly button, because that's the central areas that will target most of the body. I have had individuals who have had, for example, a lot of inflammation in the back, low back or hip area. And I have found that using the Eon patch right on top of the foot, between the great toe and the second toe, is a really good area. I mean, when I patch people like on the painful areas and they don't get results on the back, I use that spot, and I'll also I might even use a second set under the feet as well as the back area to really move energy from there and reduce that inflammation. This one gentleman that I worked with had severe issues. In fact, I had never seen anyone with it that bad. And it was shooting down his leg, and you can guess what it was, the numbness down that leg to the ankle. And the whole leg was so swollen. I had never seen one that bad. He was actually not able to lift his own foot. He was dragging his foot. He had 3 cortisone shots, and the third cortisone shot, they hit the nerve, and it looked like it had deadened the nerve. So we ended up placing the Eon patch there and placing some a kidney one under his feet as well as on his hip, and we finally got relief. And he had done everything. He had done PT, and he had done chiro, acupuncture, you name it. He had done it all. Deep tissue massage made it worse. This man was in a lot of pain, and it took 2 weeks for him to be totally out of pain, because he went from like a 10 plus down to a 4 by the time he left. And 2 weeks later, he was totally out of pain. But it did take a little longer for that level of pain. So again, you're dealing with each individual, and everyone is different. And we have to work with where's the energy blocked, so that we can open those meridians so that the nutrients can get to those areas to heal and repair the area and regenerate.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, those spots on kidney 1 on the bottom of the feet open up the energy flow, because usually pain is related to stuck energy, and the patches go on our energy system meridians that opens up the flow. So that's beautiful. And that spot on top of the foot, that's a hot tip, everybody. Remember that one. I hope you're taking notes. And we know that massage therapists take the Eon patch and put it on their clients before they work on them, to get their body like this big exhale so they can relax and receive the massage, because we're living in a pretty stressed out time with all this uncertainty in the world. So, and let's see, finally, I think we got a few more. Victoria, who asked about, using since X49 is for stem cells, can someone, now she said that was X49, not X39. Can people use X49 if they're on chemo or have
Because
a
they're
organ
both
transplant?
stem cell patches, it's not recommended.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. So if there's swelling in the upper limbs, what would you do?
In the upper limbs, I would focus on
Actually, they corrected themselves. I'm not sure who Samsung SM is, but sorry, upper legs.
upper legs.
It's a condition where there's collection of fluids and that cause swelling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to answer that question without getting more details, but
Yeah.
I always want to focus on the spine, because remember that the brain communicates through that central nervous system to those areas. And you've got to have energy flow from, when you put the patches on, there's a frequency in every patch, and every patch has a different frequency. And that there's a communication that goes on from the infrared heat of the body activates that frequency, communicates with the brain to move energy, to flow energy through there so nutrients, oxygen can get through. So if there's pain in the upper area, you have to ask the question, is it related to the back and the spine? Do we patch there? And always, you want to go and I think it's Dr. Which one of the doctors talks about you always want to go to the next joint, right?
That's Dr. Barbara
Jennings, right? Dr. Barbara Jennings says, if you're going to patch, you can patch maybe the hip area or even the leg that is bothered with either Eon, X39. You can use ice waves. There's different ways to do this. But if you're using ice wave, put one where the most painful area is, put the other one below the joint that leg is affected. So that's typically where I get the best results. I had a woman I just worked with who fell, 91 years old, and she fell and injured her lower back, and she was feeling it down that thigh. And I tried patching just the area she was complaining about, but I didn't get the results that I got when I put the tan patch in the most painful area, and I took the white patch, because this ice wave is a 2-patch system. I took the white one and put it below her knee, and she got much better relief than my patching it in that direct area. So going below a joint can be beneficial.
I've had amazing results with that. I love it, because sometimes the clock method can be a little challenging for some people, but when you cross a joint, it's like, it works. It works. And again, remember, it's opening up the energy flow. And that's the beauty of separating the patches. They don't need to be close together. Sometimes further apart even better. Okay, Sherry said, I have tailbone pain. What patches and where?
Well, I would definitely use your spine. So I put the X39 right on top of the spine. And if that's not effective, I always start with X39. That's an important piece here, that you understand X39 does everything, right? It handles pain, inflammation, raising glutathione levels. It raises your copper peptide, which helps with healing and repair. So that's usually the place that I like to start, is with X39. But if that doesn't do the trick, then I will add Eon. Eon is a nice patch. You can stick it right on that bone, the coccyx area. I would put X39 on top with that patch right there. If that didn't work, I would then add the ice wave. But most of the time, Eon and X39 do the trick. They really do.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, we got just time for a few more. And thank you, Jada. Wonderful to have you. I've missed you. Michael says his wife's heartbeat consistently goes above 100 beats per minute. What can we do to get it in a more normal state?
Oh boy, that's really a good one, because I have had a lot of issues with my own. We have a strong family history of cardiovascular disease in my family. And so one of the patches that I was using quite consistently was carnosine. Carnosine is wonderful for heart health, and often would just put it right on my chest. But I can tell you that of late, I've found that X39, X49, because X49 is wonderful for the endothelial tissue of the heart, of the capillaries, of the blood vessels and veins, that X49 is a really powerful patch when it comes to cardiovascular issues. But you know, if that didn't do the trick, the X39, X49 combination, I would add the carnosine for sure.
Yeah, heart issues, the carnosine right in the center of our chest. I've heard major miracle stories with any kind of heart condition. It's pretty, but X49 does a lot for the heart too. So I love the way you said try X39 and 49. And
I want to add
remember
one more thing, Robin, one more thing.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, and people don't realize this, keep in mind that caffeine plays a role. It's a stimulant. And as a stimulant, it can stimulate the heart to really start to take off. And I'm very sensitive to caffeine. So, you know, it's important to understand if you're drinking coffee, caffeinated beverages, eating a lot of chocolate during the day, as a stimulant, that can make the heart race. So it's important for somebody who is more sensitive than usual. And I'm one of those people. So I don't drink coffee for that reason. And I have to limit how much dark chocolate I have. I will have some, but I do have to be careful. And I can tell you, since using the X49 carnosine patches, that I have not had that happen like it was happening before. Because I used to wake up in the middle of the night with that fast heart rate, and it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good, and it's nice to have that not happening anymore.
So again, paying attention to all of the different dimensions, what we're consuming can have quite an effect. And caffeine for some people is really good, and for other people, it can cause problems. So you pay attention to that one. Okay, finally, we're going to do Kathy, and I'm just going to talk about a few things she says, because we don't talk disease states or named conditions, but her husband's having a challenge with his blood going down the leg, but struggling to get the blood back up the leg to the heart, and difficulty breathing and sore legs. So what would you suggest for that?
I want everyone to keep in mind that the X39, if you were to go to PubMed and look up GHK-CU peptide, and you were to put in any kind of respiratory issues, for example, lungs, you could put lungs in the search engine of PubMed.gov, you would find that copper peptide is amazing when it comes to healing lung tissue. So that's number one for me, is that you really want to make sure that, and using it consistently. A lot of people, and there's one of my really dear friends had, her partner had a lot of those leg issues, and found that she used both X39, X49 with him, but it took him 8 months before things cleared for him in both of his legs. So you do have to give it time. And obviously this is a circulatory issue, and that's why I like the X49, I like the carnosine. We're talking circulation, right? So those are all the patches that I would strongly recommend. And
beautiful. Beautiful. Well, we've come to the end of our time. Again, it went so fast. It's wonderful. Thank you, Anne, for being with us. You share
welcome.
such great wisdom and stories with everyone. You're a gift to our community. Thank you.
I love this community. I do.
That's great.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah, and thank you everyone who took the time to be with us tonight. And many guests are on the call here, and we love having you to learn, and I hope you learned a lot tonight. But do get back to the person that invited you, and we invite you to get started. There is no risk by getting started with LifeWave. There's a 30-day risk-free guarantee. We have a wonderful, if it's just for yourself, we have a great customer program. If you're the kind of person that likes to share, that's what happened to me. I started as a customer, but I couldn't not share. And then I felt a sense of responsibility to share. And because of that, people's lives all over the world have been changed. So our brand partner program is fabulous and it keeps getting better, and you get rewarded for sharing, and that's wonderful. So please do get back to the person that invited you. And at this very special time of year, we want to send our love and gratitude to everyone. We hope you had a great holiday, and now we're fully into the holiday season, that you take really good care. And like Anne talked about, take the time to rest, take the time to de-stress. We have a new product that has us breathing deeply first thing in the morning and last thing at night. And it's a wonderful thing to do for your health. So blessings to all, and thank you. And thank you, Gregory, for that great presentation as always. So it's time to say goodnight, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.